You don't want people to think you're an angry black woman, so you do the opposite. But that anger gets stuff done. They don't want you to be angry. They don't want you to present anger. They don't want you to show up in your full self and demand your humanity, because that's really what these tropes are all about, whether we're talking about the Jezebel, whether we're talking about the Sambo, whether we're talking about all of the ways in which they've categorized blackness to infantilize us, to diminish us, to throw us in spaces where we're constantly having to defend ourselves. Yeah, no, I'm angry. And I have a right to be angry, and my anger produces. So keep making me angry, and I'm going to keep using it.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Yesterday, I was talking with Renee Seiler, and again, it's a live show, so I'm in flow of conversation, and I was like, yeah, this angry black woman thing, they need to really see what it looks like for there to be actual angry black women. We need to show up and show them what angry black women really look like. And I, in that moment, didn't know how it would hit, but then that first caller that called up, and the brother, let me thank him, because I could feel the angst in that, because as I said it, I couldn't imagine anyone else having said this before. Like it felt novel for me to say it, and it also felt liberating, because a light bulb went off as I was talking yesterday about anger. And how, anger gets ish done. As a matter of fact, I've pulled a clip from Orlando Jones, but I want to thank that brother because he made me come back home and sit and think about what I was saying and what I meant. And I still landed on what I said to him yesterday, which we're going to, revisit. But I realized that we're not used to allowing ourselves to be angry. We're not used to embracing the anger that so many of us feel every single day, and whether it's in our homes, in the office place, and it's not just the racism, it's just life, right? A lot of us have this pent up anger. We're angry. Sometimes we don't even know why. Last night, I had the pleasure of sitting in a class that we have in Nubia. It's a 4-week course on emotions. Shout out to Chelsea Elliott, the founder of Somacombe Labs, and it's families, a bunch of families, mothers, fathers, children, talking about emotions and how we express ourselves. There's hundreds of emotions, and we usually only use a few, but I don't think we use anger enough. So I want to start off the show asking a question and, really having us on this Wellness Wednesday sit with the last time we were angry, and what did we do about it? How does your anger manifest? What positive thing do you produce from anger? And I've always, since I matured, since I grew up, as I shared with you, I used to have fits of rage, but that was in my immaturity in my 20s. And as I started to be, go on this quest of self-discovery and becoming more of myself, I realized how to channel that anger. And it was that one scripture, I think it's in James, be angry and sin not, that has been kind of my guiding force. I'm going to be angry. And I feel like a lot of times this angry black woman trope, because it's a trope that was born out of enslavement as a means to keep us docile. And then after enslavement as a means to categorize us in such a way that we would be our self-policing. We would self-police, right? Because you don't want people to think you're an angry black woman, so you do the opposite. But that anger gets stuff done. They don't want you to be angry. They don't want you to present anger. They don't want you to show up in your full self and demand your humanity. Because that's really what these tropes are all about, whether we're talking about the Jezebel, whether we're talking about the Sambo, whether we're talking about all of the ways in which they've categorized blackness to infantilize us, to diminish us, to throw us in spaces where we're constantly having to defend ourselves. Yeah, no, I'm angry. And I have a right to be angry, and my anger produces. So keep making me angry. And I'm going to keep using it. So I want to play this clip. Orlando Jones, who is a friend of the show, he's a friend. I love him. I think he is a brilliant man. He reads a lot. I'm saying that on purpose. He is somebody that is developed as a human being. He is on a journey. He was on a show called American Gods several years ago. He was on a show. He played Anansi, which is the trickster in mythology, in actual mythology, not this Greek and Roman thing, like the before that. And there's a scene where he visits a group of black people in the hold of a ship heading to a plantation, heading to a new, quote unquote, new world. He visits them in the hold of the ship, and he has a conversation with them as their chains are rattling, as they're vomiting, as they are swaying in this filth under the ship and the ship's hold. He said this. So play the clip.
Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, a man got fucked. That's the story of black people in America. Shit, you all don't know you black yet. You think you just people. Let me be the first to tell you that you are all black. The moment these Dutch motherfuckers set foot here and decided they white, and you get to be black, and that's the nice name they call you, let me paint a picture of what's waiting for you on the shore. You arrive in America, land of opportunity, milk and honey, and guess what? You all get to be slaves, split up, sold off, and worked to death. The lucky ones get Sunday off to sleep and fuck and make more slaves and all for what? For cotton, indigo, for a fucking purple shirt. The only good news is the tobacco your grandkids are gonna farm for free is gonna give a shitload of these white motherfuckers cancer. And I ain't even started yet. 100 years later, you're fucked. 100 years after that, fucked. 100 years after you get free, you still getting fucked out of job and shot at by police. You see what I'm saying? This guy gets it. I like him. He's getting angry. Angry is good. Angry gets shit done.
So it's something that I knew in my spirit after I was able to control the rage and land on anger. I learned how to channel that anger into productivity. And then I went today just to verify anger definition. It's an intense emotional state involving a strong, uncomfortable, and non-cooperative response to a perceived provocation, a perceived hurt, a perceived threat. I went to Psychology Today, which is a site that I go to actually quite frequently. And it said on the question of anger, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Like, we shouldn't hold anger. Actually, holding anger is what makes you sick. Holding in the anger that you feel that you have to then put on a happy face for people. I grew up with this face. So when I'm not smiling, people ask me, am I mad? And 99% of the time I'm not. And there was a point in my life where I would, be jovial and self-deprecating because it would make people in the room comfortable. I would, be overly jovial and self-deprecating. And a good friend of mine said, why are you diminishing yourself for these people? And it never left me, because there's nothing wrong with me not smiling and laughing and shucking and jiving when there's nothing to shuck and jive over. Now, if there's a good time to be had, I will be there. Those of you who know, I'm there for a good time. But we're not in a good time right now. And if you're not angry about what's going on, I need to know why. What are you doing? And I guess it would explain why there's so much apathy. why people don't show up for themselves and others, why people are so selfish, why people are navel gazing. But then I know that there's rage, unbridled rage, and we're going to talk about that. And there's a difference. Psychology Today says on a societal level, there's been gaslighting. Even former First Lady, is this prophetic? I don't know. Former First Lady Michelle Obama recounted in her autobiography how she felt reduced to, quote, an angry black woman by her husband's critics, because that's an easy thing. And it puts you in a defensive mode where you have to defend yourself against nonsense. She had to defend herself against nonsense. On the flip side, Psychology Today writes, we praise those who don't show their anger. I wonder why. We consider them, quote, well-bred, quote, intelligent, quote, sophisticated. We've upheld whole groups of people who tend to not show anger as model citizens. Yes. You can also hurt someone without being angry, by the way. For example, people who commit terrible sex crimes can be perfectly cool and calculated in the way that they stalk and harass their victims. They're not angry when they're raping and being pedophiles. They're not angry. The difference between anger and aggression is crucial. Anger is an evolutionary, hardwired, physiological, and automatic cascade in the body. Aggression is an action exercised by a person's free will. When we recognize that, we can respect the emotion of anger even as we condemn the behavior of violence, because most violent people are not thinking. They're not thinking. It's not a measured thing. It is a reactionary thing. It is an immature thing. It is a small thing. It is a low vibrational thing. It's childlike. People can steal, this is Psychology Today, steal, assault, cheat, bully, and oppress without an ounce of anger. But without anger, the victims would shrug and continue to endure injustice. Yes, anger is the response. So when you feel anger, that's okay. It's your brain's way of keeping you safe. You can and should investigate whatever triggers your anger and use your wise mind to evaluate the facts and decide on the best action. But whatever those turn out to be, the initial spark of anger is always allowed. So I want to thank that brother again, because when I said what I said, I just said it in the flow of things, but then he forced me to think more deeply about it. And I was absolutely right. So I'm just wondering, when do we flip that? I'm angry that there are people storming through neighborhoods, hemming up folk. I'm angry that a young boy got shot in the back of his head at a traffic stop. Not a traffic stop. He blew the horn at a lady. She didn't like it, and she rolled up on him and shot him. I'm angry about that. I'm angry about Sonia Massey, whose killer, there's jury selection, but she's in her home. There's a wellness check. Maybe she's having a mental breakdown, but she's in her home. He stomps through her home and shoots her in the face. He's on trial right now, and he might go to jail, but Sonia Massey's dead. I'm angry about Sandra Bland. I'm angry about Ahmaud Arbery. I'm angry about Breonna Taylor. I'm angry about a lot of things. So then my question is, what do we do about it? And this is where all of us have to take stock of this Wellness Wednesday. What are you willing to do? What can you do? Very easily, right now, you can control your speech. You can control how you talk to people and about people. Oh, I'm saying something right now. You can control how you talk to people and about people, especially when you know that there is a built-in, baked-in propaganda mill that is designed to pull you into conversations about other black people. The algorithm is doing this on purpose to pull you into conversations, negative conversations that then get spread out virally. And then we think that that's the norm. That's not the norm. You should be angry about that. You should know that it's baked in. You can also work on yourself. If you have fits of rage, you get angry and then react in a way that is not healthy and productive. You can work on that. There is therapy. There's meditation. There are rites of passages there are books you can read, but that's something that you can do right now. And you need to work on it. What are your weaknesses? How do you address them? I suggest a lot of us need to fast, not just of food, but of social media, of raggedy television, talking to myself. And then finally, you can be of service. I always say we all live somewhere. What is needed in your neighborhood? What do people need in your life? How can you be of service? And not in a punk ass way, but in a way that really feeds your soul as you're out there serving and helping other people. Because I think that's the best way to get out of your own headspace is to go help somebody else. But I want to land on this speech thing because from the use of the N word that is so prevalent right now, and what much of a trick of the Satan of the devil is that they got us calling each other that freely. And then turn around and we use it as a term of endearment. It's so wild if you really sit and think about the lash came with that word. They were stripping people, raping people, hitting people, beating people, enslaving people, using that word, and now we use it freely. We use it so freely to one another, not brother and sister, but the N word. It's all in our music. Nobody bleeps it. You can't say a derogatory word about another group in the music and think it's going to be on the airwaves anywhere. But black people, yes. Why do we allow that? Why do we allow that? I am grateful because I did not have this conversation on these airwaves and I wasn't going to talk about it. And I'm probably still not going to talk about it. But I'm grateful that people gathered somebody talking derogatorily about one of our Congress people. It needed to happen because why are you got 11 million people to talk about that are actually causing harm in our community. This is a person that's actually fighting for the rights of her constituents. You got something negative to say about her. Why? So you'd apologize today. You didn't have to, but did somebody make you like, what is happening? But you know better. You grown enough, but you playing a game. And we're in a time when we shouldn't be playing games. Let me say I was angry about that. But I also know that things always catch up if you wait long enough. I usually don't respond to things in the moment. I usually wait a beat. That's part of the maturity. You wait a beat to see how it's going to play out. And I always ask myself this question, what's the benefit of having this conversation? How does it free us? As Sonia Sanchez would say, but how do it free us? So I ask myself that question before I dive in. And the only day that I give myself an opportunity to talk about absolute nonsense is on Friday. Foolishness Friday, Roderick Morrow and I and whoever else is on, we're going to talk about some foolishness that I would never talk about Monday through Thursday because that's like my Vegas day. That's my day of rest when I'm going to allow myself the nonsense because we all need a teaspoon of sugar to help this medicine go down. But every day when I open these airwaves, I'm asking myself these topics and I have 7 pages of commentary and 2 pages of clips to play today. What am I trying to convey? So I was glad when the brother called yesterday and he was like, Karen, be careful with that anger. It sounds like you're inciting people to go out and be violent. And when did we start associating anger with violence? Oh, because that's how it plays out in this country. But what if we all got angry? I'm sure the folk on the island of Hispaniola who were being tortured into oblivion were angry when the Haitian Revolution started. I'm sure. I know Nat Turner was angry. I know John Brown was angry. I know Harriet Tubman was angry. I know they were angry. They were angry. Are you angry? Or do you control your anger? We'd love to have this conversation today, and an honest one, too.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We